Hey guys, Christine here. I want to talk to you guys today about relaxed homeschooling, which is the kind of homeschooling that we do in our house. We are eclectic, relaxed homeschoolers. If we want to give ourselves an actual title. I need to get into my post here so I can make sure I'm hitting all of my points. We are living in our RV at the beach for those of you that have not been following our journey. And so we were just at the beach. We were enjoying our afternoon because it's gorgeous here in North Carolina today. So let me get into my post. My computer waked up and everything. Okay, so let's talk about relaxed homeschooling. So it's very much so how it sounds. We are not unschoolers. I know some people worry about what's the difference between unschooling and relaxed homeschooling and eclectic homeschooling. So unschooling is usually people who do not use any sort of curriculum unless their children ask to use it. So it's all child-led, which, I'm sorry, my lighting in here is just ridiculous today. So it's completely child-led. With relaxed homeschooling, we do a lot of child-led and a lot of just life schooling and real life learning and all of that. But we do still use curriculum, but we don't let the curriculum rule us. The curriculum is absolutely just a tool that we add into our homeschool, and so basically it's going to just help us along the way. So if you imagine that you have your tool belts, we have our curriculum tool, we have our field trip or our road schooling tool, we have our child-led tool. We've got all these different tools in our tool belt. And so that's how I look at relaxed homeschooling, is we are not going to let that curriculum rule us. We're going to let life rule us, and we are going to use those fun situations to foster the learning for our kids. And so that's something that I love about our relaxed homeschooling, is that we're able to take those lessons and we're able to, find out what's going on in our community or what's going on if we're traveling, and finding those real life lessons, because there's research to prove it. My kids prove it, that kids tend to remember and learn better when they're using the actual situation, when they are immersed in the learning and not just having a textbook to teach them something. So we absolutely use our curriculum. We have curriculum that we know and that we love, but we just don't let it rule us. We let life and the fun situations around us rule us. So something else is that we just recently let go of our school schedule as far as we are now year-round homeschoolers. That was something that was really hard for me to get through my head, was that we do not have to follow a typical school year schedule. And this has allowed us to relax even more in our homeschool, because if we are having a day, those days, if we are having a day, I'm able to say, we don't need to get school done today, at least curriculum. Let's play a game, or let's go to this place, or today, let's go to the beach. We were actually having a really good day, but the weather was so beautiful that I said, okay, we're done by noon, and we were eating lunch. We brought our macaroni and cheese to the beach, and it was amazing. And that, this lifestyle allows us to do that, is that we're able to just, do whatever we need to do. Next week, I know we've got a really busy week. We've got some field trips. We've got a park day. We have a get together with some homeschool friends another day. So next week is going to be a light week as far as our course load stuff goes, because we are going to use those real life learning opportunities as a part of our homeschool. So I know a lot of people worry about, well, then when do you fit it in? So with our year-round schedule, it allows us to take as many days off as we want during the school year, because when it's stinking hot outside in July and the kids are inside just whining about being hot, guess what? We can bust out those school books then mid-July and do everything then. We don't have to worry about fitting everything between September and May. We don't have to cram all these lessons in and do stuff 5 days a week. And we can also, double up on a lesson or whatever. We can read 2 chapters out of this book instead of just 1. We can use our language arts and our reading and our spelling all combined into one thing. We don't have to have different things for all of it. We can be very relaxed about it and say, okay, like right now, we just started using Moving Beyond the Page for language arts. I said, let's take a break from what we're doing right now and let's read this fun book. So it had, like today we worked on like capitalization stuff, and I was able to, even though it's an 8 to 10-year-old curriculum thingy that we're using right now, I was able to have my 6-year-old take one sentence and say, okay, we know we need capitalization at the beginning of this. What about these names? And then I was able to introduce proper nouns to him. And so that was something that I was able to just take from my older son's curriculum, where he had a lot more capitalization stuff he had to correct in so many sentences, and pull out just one or two for my 6-year-old and say, hey, let's just do this. So I'm able to save money that way, because I'm not necessarily having to get full curriculums for both of my kids, for soon all 3 of my kids. And I'm able to pull different stuff from different things. And I mean, there's been stuff in my 6-year-old's work that my 10-year-old never touched on because we were using a different curriculum. So he's able to take some stuff even from his and be like, let's talk about this today. Let's talk. And like, we were able to use our art as history, which it was art history, but we were learning about ancient Greeks in art. So of course we're going to use that for our history at the same time. And so we picked out books from the library. It's all just about having relaxed learning, not having that curriculum completely rule you, and just using it as a tool for your homeschool. My favorite part of relaxed homeschooling is that it allows us to travel during the school year, because that is the best time to travel, because there's not a million people out traveling during the school year. So usually May is a really good time to travel because the weather is really nice most places, and spring break is over, but school's not over yet. And then September, October are other good times because a lot of people aren't vacationing yet because school had just started. But again, the weather is usually still really, really nice no matter where you're going. So we absolutely love traveling during the school year so that we're able to get to those places when they're not completely jam-packed, and that normally leaves for better learning opportunities. So if we go to a national park, we can get in with those ranger talks, and there might only be 1 or 2 other families there that have kids, and they're usually other homeschoolers, which then makes it really fun to make friends and everything. But they're able to get in and ask more questions and interact more during those lessons because there's not 100 people at those. There's maybe only 20 people at those. So going during, sorry, I just bounced the whole camera around. Going during those slow times when you're vacationing and going places, you're going to see and learn a lot more because you can talk to those docents more, you can talk to the rangers more. Wherever you are going to museums, those are some of the best times to go, especially going during the school year, not during a break, going during school hours as opposed to going on the weekend. Use your weekend as downtime to hang out and get stuff done around the house. Get out during the week when it's, you know, slower because no one's out. Everyone's at work or everyone is at school. So that's some of our favorite reasons for homeschooling. So getting out and being able to see things during the school year when you can be able to get more hands-on with stuff because it's not super packed. And being able just to use the curriculum however you need to as a tool for your family. Make sure I did not miss any points. Oh, so a good point that I've had a lot of people bring up is, what if you live in a state or a country, because I know not everyone that watches me is from America, that's not super relaxed about homeschool laws. So I know some countries it's illegal to homeschool. And I don't know a lot of information about that. I'm never going to tell anyone to do anything illegal. But I know here in the United States, in all of the states, it is legal to homeschool. But there are a lot of states that ask for a lot more. So we live in North Carolina right now, and the only thing that is asked of us is that we sign up as homeschoolers, that we do a nationally known test once a year, but we don't even have to submit those test scores to anyone, and we just have to keep a couple pieces of paperwork on hand just in case we're ever audited. It's super laid back. I think we have to keep attendance as well. But it's literally just a check in the box, yes, we did school that day. And the thing with us, with being so relaxed, is that I literally can check off every single day, because it just has to be that you did education that day. And we do education 7 days a week, 365 days a year in our house. So it's very easy for me to fill out an attendance form. But I know some states require you to show what curriculum you're going to use before you even start it. So you may not even know if you like this curriculum or not yet. Some states require you to put together a portfolio of everything that you have done. So that can be really stressful coming from a relaxed homeschool, but it is absolutely possible. We were actually looking into moving to a state that was a lot more strict. So I looked into umbrella schools. A lot of time those umbrella schools are a little bit more lenient. They do still have rules where you have to show that you've done things, or you may have to show what you're going to teach that year, but they're a lot more loose about it. I know the one I was looking into even cooperated with unschoolers, because they said if you write down that you guys went grocery shopping that day and that was your math for the day because the kids had to calculate prices or whatever, budgeting, they were allowed to count that as math for that day. And I think that's absolutely valid to count that as math for that day. So finding an umbrella school that is open to working with unschoolers. So even though we aren't unschoolers, I wanted that one that was open to working with unschoolers, because if we are unschooling for a certain subject, or if we are unschooling for whatever, because we're going through a month, like when we moved earlier this year out of our house into our camper, we had to take that entire month off because we were moving ourselves. We didn't hire movers. We were doing everything ourselves. We're moving from 1,800 square feet to 300 square feet. So it was busy. We did not have time to sit down and do schoolwork. So, you know, we're able, that if I was able to do it through an umbrella school, let's say, that had that relaxed or that unschooling title under it, that I could say that my kids were learning organizational skills, because they had to go through their things. They had to go through their toys, they had to go through their clothes and all of that. We did do a lot of reading just to make sure to kind of just keep some normalcy to our day, so I'd be able to count that as school. I mean, we had to budget because we had to see, you know, how much we had to pay for these boxes that we were buying and all of that. So there was a lot of stuff I could have written down and counted as school, because it was real life learning. I mean, there was some big stressful situations with moving. It is for any move. And so I could count that as school. So that was important to me, to find an umbrella school that allowed for unschooling, because I'm like, if they allow people who unschool for every single subject, they certainly are going to be okay with what I'm doing, since we are using a curriculum for some subjects. So that is one thing that you can do if you're at a state that's very strict. The other thing is that you just have to be really, really good at organization and at planning. It is absolutely possible to plan a relaxed homeschool year and submit it to a state, because you just have to know what books you're going to use ahead of time. We use a lot of real life books as opposed to textbooks. So just looking ahead of time, going through your library, looking at online resources. I know I love Pinterest. If you guys don't follow me on Pinterest yet, you need to go follow me on Pinterest, because I pin all kinds of awesome stuff, all kinds of resources every single day to my Pinterest board. So make sure you go join me on there and follow me on there. But use these different tools to make a general guideline for what you want to do for that year. So look at those books you want to read, look at some fun topics you want to talk about, and then just make sure that the field trips and any road schooling and all of that stuff, center that around your learning. And so you can be like, oh, well, we're going to go to the aquarium, so let's do a unit on the ocean or whatever. And we are going to go to this national park, so let's learn about the nature around that national park. So use those different situations for your learning, for mapping out your school year that way. Oh my goodness, maybe I just woke up from a nap, so I actually am going to have to wrap this up for you guys. But so that was the end of it anyway. So look into just being flexible for your relaxed homeschooling if you're in those states, or if you're in those countries that that make it a little bit more difficult for you to relax to homeschool. But most states are very, very, very relaxed homeschool friendly. You can absolutely make it work for your family. So let me know in the comments what questions you have about relaxed homeschooling, and I can make sure I answer those for you guys. Make sure to check out my posts that I have up top as well, and I will see you guys next week.